That's the end of season 1.
That was fucking awesome.
So I said we had to watch the last 3. We had to watch, like you couldn't just watch, you had to watch the last 2 together, and you can't stop the last episode before the end of the season. Come on.
Man, that was just fucking awesome.
And you see now we get into the deep and deeper stuff. This is it. This is where it all goes
haywire.
To use the British term, where it all goes pear-shaped. Yes, where it all goes pear-shaped. So interesting, though. Some of the things I love, the one thing I love about this show is there's always pieces that you, every time we watch it, another little piece, things that you don't remember, things that you have a new comprehension of all of a sudden. And this show, every time I watch it, there's more little pieces that fall in. So, like the description of how the thinning of that veil, the membrane, the description of how that all works, and how it's just that thin membrane between the two worlds, and how there's soft spots, and how technology has made the soft spots worse, made them thinner, made them more vulnerable. You just sit there and go, I mean,
I have something to say.
Let's hear it.
All right. Maurice, I'm going to tell her.
You're echoing through someone's mic. Whose mic?
It's probably mine. Hold on here. I had.
No, try again. Say something, hon.
Me? Can you hear me now?
It's still echoing on yours. Is it echoing through mine? Okay, hold on. Say something again.
Let me get out of this one. Okay, I left the meeting. Is that better?
Oh, did you have 2 devices going?
Yes, I did. Okay. All right, Maurice, I'm going to tell her about what happened in the bathtub.
You had a bathtub incident?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm in the tub, and I normally call Maurice when I'm in the tub. That's just
go for it, Dawn.
nightly thing.
Okay, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, I am recording right now. Do you?
I'm just saying it's easier for me to talk in the tub because I don't have any interruptions.
You got to understand, Dawn and I have a really special relationship. Really special.
It's like my dad. So anyway, I am talking to him, and so he's doing something, and I'm putting conditioner in my hair, and then I go to I say, hold on, I need to rinse my hair out. So I go to lean back in the tub. And right at that moment, I flashed into another reality where the only thing I came out of it with was I was like floating in a tank. And I shifted into the tank. I was in a tank. And then all of a sudden I shifted back into my body. I came up out of the tub. Well, the phone was making noises at that time, like it had disconnected. And so I had to call Maurice back. And Maurice said the line just went nuts, and then it went dead at that same moment. So that happened to me.
I'll add from my end, yes, what she just said is true. And I called her both on her home phone and her cell phone. And the home phone wouldn't even connect. It wouldn't even ring. And that never happens to me. And then I called her on her cell phone, and I got the answering machine, or the voicemail. That's what we call it now. And then I think she ended up calling me, in the process. She came back, called me back, And then we went over and said, what the hell?
'Cause
Anyway, that did happen. That was only a couple of nights ago, wasn't it, Dawn?
I was just going to say, how long ago was this?
it's only, I think it's been about 3 or 4 now.
Well, yeah, no longer than that, that's for sure.
But it was so weird because I come up out of the tub, you know, I leaned back in the tub and then I raised up out of it and I was just like, I mean, it was like I went down into the water and all of a sudden I was somewhere else, and I can only surmise it. It felt like a tank. I was in water floating. And everything shifted to where it affected the electronics at that moment.
Well, okay. This is the whole thing. When we look at it, what they said in the show, a thinning of the fabric where protons are and things, fields, electrical fields, magnetic fields, all these things are not quite the way they should be, which would make sense if electronics suddenly stop working in that vicinity because of something shifting and altering. Even electrical fields would automatically shut things down. Like you say, hang up the phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like the cell phone signal would just not connect anymore. Really, really, really interesting. Okay, Nancy said, by any chance, was it a clear tank, maybe a bit milky frosted glass?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because when I opened my eyes in there, it wasn't the same kind of atmosphere. It was kind of like a milky. That's exactly what it was. And let's also add in, it wasn't a cell phone, Danny. It was a landline that did that.
Very strange. Technology being weird. Listen, in the last few weeks, I have had several people talk to me about things that their kids have said. One of them is a friend of mine, and her son goes through episodes of sleep paralysis. And he had one a couple of weeks ago. And when he came back, he said, Mom, I visited 3 different universes. And I sat down and talked with him afterwards, and he was like, no, I went to 3 different places. And I know I actually went to these 3 different places. Things like kids talking about events happening, kids talking about things just not being quite right. My son Logan, for 3 days, has been, I talked about it this morning, saying, Mom, I feel not right.
Well, you remember
sick. I'm not sick. Like he says, I don't feel sick, but I don't feel good. I don't feel right. And he kept coming back to it like, I don't feel right.
It's feeling weird in your own skin. It's weird. And remember I told you about the temperature thing in my tub?
Yep.
It happened to me last night.
All these things, I'm telling you.
Because that's Maurice. My water in my house is scalding hot.
Well, funnily you should say that, because it's the same thing. We have 2 bathrooms. One has a shower, one has a bath. And our hot water tank for our bathtub is way too small in the wintertime. In the summertime, it's fine. But in the wintertime, when you need hot water, it's just not big enough to fill a bath. So we go to the shower, fill up hot water from the shower, and go and dump it into the tub, because it's 2 separate tanks. The hot water in my shower is enough to make tea out of. Like, you literally, I was filling up my hot water bottle a few weeks ago, and as you're pouring it, it's got my thumb, and I had a blister on my thumb from the heat of that hot water. So that was about a month ago, right around Christmas time. I guess it's longer than a month ago now. I did the same thing 2 nights ago. Well, I noticed, I went and got water and I dumped it in my bath. And usually I was always like 1 bucket of hot water from the shower into the bath. You know exactly how much water you can put in. It's all good. And I got in the bath and was like, oh, that's not warm enough. That's not warm enough at all. Like, usually I should be able, like, climbing in and you're like slowly sticking your toes in. It's that hot. and I was filling my hot water bottle 2 nights ago. And I splashed water on my hand directly out of the shower. It was hot, but it wasn't burn you, scald you hot like boiling water.
That's exactly the same as me. It's weird.
You might as well throw in there that out of left field, that deal with that bird and you and the and Raven you were telling me about too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I
Oh well,
didn't.
I have more to that story too. Okay, so every night, I want to say a lot of nights, because I have my window open right here. There's this bird that sings. It's a very odd sounding thing. I even thought it was a frog at first. And it's been going on. And I always say to myself, I wonder what's doing that, you know? Well, I go outside the other night, and my cat's right here outside the window. And she's jumping in the air and twisting, you know, like playing tag with something. Like she's all into this. And I see this little thing flapping. And I think, what the fuck is that? So I'm like watching, you know, and it's not very big. And I'm thinking, is that a bat? You know, because we got bats over here. But then the thing would cackle every so often. And I thought, what in the world? And then I come out there, and then it like flies off. And so she's out in the yard, and she's calling for it. And I'm going, I mean, this is a cat that murders things, okay? She brings this shit in my house. So I'm thinking, what in the world? So I'm not shitting y'all. So I have a run next, you know, dog run with a dog house next, you know, to my house. And I have a gate. Well, the fucking lock quit working. I put the pups in there. I couldn't get in there. Long story short, I'm out there tearing this lock apart. I start hearing the noise. But it's near like, I guess it's getting close, 4:30, 5 o'clock, but it starts doing that chirp noise. And I'm like,
Where is it?
Right. So I turn around, and the minute I turn around, it stops. And then I'm like, and I'm looking, and you know, I'm looking. And then I'm like, turn around. And the minute I turn around, it does it again. And he keeps doing this to me. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? Then all of a sudden, I seen this little bird fly over my head down two yards down into the tree. And I'm looking, and I'm going, what the fuck is this? I mean, and then it comes back, and then it lands way up high above me. And it's just a little bird. But it's just very... I couldn't get a good look at it, but it's dark. But whatever this thing is, I've never heard this kind of call, and I've never seen a bird that is awake in the morning and at night. I was watching out my window one night, wondering where that little sumbitch was, and all of a sudden I seen him fly across as fast, like on the yard behind me, to the tree. So not only is he active in the day, he's active at night, and I don't know what kind of bird this is. I mean, it is, and this is a smart bird.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Seriously.
I told her it was probably a fairy.
Well, at first I wasn't sure, but I seen it.
Fairy trying to talk to you and trick you. You know, the Irish do say that the fairies look like butterflies and birds to those who are, if you don't know what you're looking for, if they don't let you see.
But see, that's the thing that's throwing me, because when I saw the outline of it in the like twilight, playing with my cat, it almost looked like it had a body. See, that's what threw me, little body.
Membranes are getting thin. I'm telling you. Listen, this last 2 days, I put out an article on removing the shackles on RTS. I put an article out. You guys all go look. It's the last thing that I published on RTS. So if you go to the homepage, it's like first listed. And Lee put a post in UnFuckers that triggered it. Well, began a cascading effect of being triggered about a show that Lisa and I did back in 2016. The Amber Alert 9/11 fucking Mandela effect shit. And I was like, I'd seen that too. That came up for me a couple of weeks ago. For several days, it just kept appearing on my, recommended for you. But I'm just like, you're busy, you're doing stuff, so I just kind of, oh, okay. And then when Lee posted it, and several other people said, yeah, it just come up in mine too. Like, what the hell? I was like, okay, synchronicities. I always pay attention to this type of shit. Why would, and as Lee had said, he'd already seen it. So why would YouTube recommend a video that he's already seen? Right? Like, that doesn't even make sense that way. I watched the video and I listened to the shit that we were talking about. And not just that, but you put yourself back, like, you know what I mean? Like, it draws you back into that place you were in, that you remember the other things that were going on at the time, like other pieces that were all playing out at once. And it was like, holy shit. So many pieces. And like, for example, when we did that show, we were talking about Fringe. And I'm laughing and saying, and what show did Nick and I just start rewatching 2 days before we'd done that video? Nick and I had just been like, let's rewatch Fringe. And we just started rewatching Fringe 2 days before. This whole thing comes up now. What is it we're all watching right now together as a group? We're all watching Fringe. Now, we could have watched Fringe last summer. We could have just decided not to watch Fringe. We could have been just still watching movies. We're all watching Fringe. Kev Baker's show that he did on Friday night. And again, that link, Ihor posted the link to it in the UnFuckers. And I put the link into it in the article that I wrote. I put this link in. And I've actually been talking to Kev. They're analyzing the CIA document that came out, I don't know when it made public, like it made the rounds publicly. It was 2018, like October, November. And it was a CIA document outlining a project that was talking about the simulated reality, holographic universe type shit and consciousness. And just this one section, and they're reading this one section. And the same thing, I had looked at that document when it came out. I didn't review it like word for word, but I had scanned through it already and was like, that's got some interesting fucking shit in here. When you read the document, when you watch, and I've got the video, Kev's show timestamp. So when, like, if you click on the video in the RTS article, it goes right to that section. When you read the things that it's saying, it was like, as I'm listening to it, my brain was just going, like pieces were just going click, 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 falling into place. No, this isn't the Adam and Eve story, Marseille. No, this is a completely different document. And all these pieces started falling into place. Well, then the very next day, so that's Saturday morning that I listened to that, yesterday morning, and wake up this morning to Lee talking about this video that Lisa and I had done. And I sat down this afternoon and watched that. And the same thing. Pieces are just clicking into place, like click, 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 click. All the things that we talked about in that video that we did, are all playing out again, like over the last 2 months, right down to the whole, like we talked about the CERN shutdown. We were talking about events that we had, all the hypothesizing, the various events that people have hypothesized, i.e. that time got taken off track in 2012, and how things are moving forward, or they jumped, or they looped, however we want to phrase it. And the fact that the same thing, CERN shut down in December 21st of 2012. What, for 2 years, 2.5 years. What did CERN just do? On December 5th, 2018, CERN ran their last experiments, and it's shut down now for 2 years. When has all the fucking ridiculous anomalies started playing out? December into January. That's when we started seeing the wild, freaky weather. We started seeing the geomagnetics go absolutely fucking insane. We started seeing all of these things, and we talked about this. We talked about us going like, what the fuck has just happened? Like, where are we? What fucking universe are we in? Shit feels so fucked up. Yes, Maury, my darling.
Yeah, Danny, I want to throw something out here. I do not expect you to accept it as knowing you, you'll say, yeah, but, or something like it. But
go
I
ahead,
still,
hit me. Let's hear it.
I want to say it. Friday, I follow Robert Phoenix still. I met him back in 17 and when I was in Houston. I like the guy. He's got a program on YouTube live. And I watched it, listened to it Friday. He interviewed a guy that was talking about the logos becoming, that's the phrase he used, meaning, logos. I think you understand what that means in terms like the one or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like company logos, you mean, right?
No, LOGOS, but the logos, meaning the God.
Okay, gotcha.
The Godhead or something. It's a way of expressing it. Higher self, the Godhead, logos, all kinds of words people use to kind of not say God, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Anyway, he was maintaining that amongst all of this stuff that we're seeing, like what you're talking about, and I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you. It seems like we have been in a bit of a delay from 2012, and it's all, like it's firing up again, effectively, is what you're saying, and we're seeing that. Well, along with that is this imposition of this higher force or logos, as he was saying, to people who are receptive to it and are starting to see weird things, and that's their evidences of that. I just wanted to mention from like a third source. Now, Phoenix is an astrologer of all things. He's pretty good at it too, by the way. And you were talking and Dawn was talking, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, hell, I just watched this thing on Friday, and it's on YouTube. Anybody that's interested, and some of you actually heard of the guy.
Oh yeah, I know who Robert Phoenix is. So here's the thing, though, and I said it this morning, right at the very end of the show this morning. We did on the astrology, right? One of our biggest problems is language. So you just used a word, then you had to kind of define it for me so that I comprehended better what you were saying. All of our language.
That's the thing. Language, unless it's in the proper context and that context is mutually understood, we've got miscommunication. That's why I spend so much time trying to make sure when I talk to somebody that I understand what they're actually saying, not just the words, but the context, and vice versa. I want to be understood for what I'm meaning, not just saying words to hear myself talk.
Exactly. And
this, what I would say that if you're in touch with the logos that you are, then you will see.
No, don't, that's not, okay, Dawn, I get what you're saying, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about right now is people have stories. They have narratives. They have the way that they've built it in for their brain, for themselves to comprehend a situation, to comprehend an idea, to comprehend something that really we have no language to be able to comprehend. So we have to build sentences. We have to build a thought, a story to make it make sense. So for example, I watched, Dawn, you posted the Dolores Cannon video. And it's just so funny because I was looking for that fucking months ago and I couldn't even remember what year it was. So it's like useless to even try and find it. You read it or listen to it. She brings forward some pieces. Now, she has a narrative. She has as this has been communicated to her, she has built a visual, if you will, because that's how she interprets it, to be able to bring it into language, to put it out for people to comprehend. And there are people who can listen to that and immediately go, no, it's not right, it's not right. But each of these pieces has their own, what I'm seeing now, every one of these pieces has their own piece to the story. And you may not comprehend the language, and you may not even agree with the storyline or even the conclusions, etc., because every single person puts their own perception on it. We all have our own experiences. We all have our own perception. So everyone, and those perceptions are built through our lifetime. Hell, it could be multiple lifetimes of experiences that we've been through, knowledge that we've gained, and language that we use. So when I hear these things, so like the stuff that Kev Baker was talking about in this document that we're talking about, the CIA document, he puts it forward in a certain way. Now, certain people are going to listen to that and just go, pfft. And then I read the comments. There are a bunch of fucking numpty fucks who were like, just like, right? You had a whole pile, like literally, there was one woman who was so fucking new age, and all love and light and all. She would have probably loved the Dolores Cannon, totally disagreed with everything Kevin Baker was saying, and yet they were both telling the exact same story. If you stripped it down, get rid of all the fucking storylines and the narrative, the information they were discussing was exactly the same pieces. And the problem we have is continuously struggling for the language. So like that's what we're saying with the astrology. A couple of times during the show, Jules and Amina and Megan started talking astrologer. And I'd go, oh, whoa, back up. Okay, what? Like, okay, dumb that down for us, because like I have no idea what you guys just said. You just said about 4 sentences, didn't get a word out of it. Explain. We have we have to learn to be able to not only speak clearly and clarify the shit that we're trying to say when we're talking about especially these abstract concepts that don't have English words for them, but we also have to have an ability to be able to look for the pieces within the pieces, to look for the pieces within the narrative, to find these pieces and really start picking them out and putting them on the table. Because there's, like I said, so much shit in the last 48 hours has been thrown in front of me, and it's come from Dolores Cannon over here and fucking Kev Baker's show over here and the video that Lisa and I did in 2016 over here, and another article that I read this morning over here, and the 15 minutes of a 3-hour show, a Joe Rogan show where he had a Robert Schock on, and a piece there, and you throw that on the table. It's to define it all without the narratives. To be able, like I said, to be able to look at the pieces as pieces and not get caught in the narratives. It is the most important thing to me right now, to be able to look at everything, and we keep saying it objectively, and not throw shit out just because it's coming from so-and-so or from this person or from, oh, that's a flat earth video, or oh, that's somebody who's talking, I don't know, like Sitchin stuff and Nibiru, so I'm just not going to listen to it. Each one of them has their little pieces, and if you can kind of drill down through all the storylines that people use to try to explain themselves, a lot of these pieces can all be taken as pieces of the same story or the same evidence.
Danny, you're well versed in a lot of fields. I know that. One of them, I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure, but I'll ask. Pointillism. Are you familiar with pointillism as a art form?
Yes.
You know of it. Yep. You know of it, right?
Yep.
You understand when you're up close, you can't distinguish what it is. But if you step back, the further back you step, the thing comes into focus.
Yeah.
Right? Up close, it's a bunch of dots, disconnected. You can't quite understand what the hell's going on. You step back, it kind of blends together. I maintain that that is a kind of a comparison of what's happening in this whole thing. No one point is going to give you the answer, but if you step back and kind of just say, wait a minute, and you just went through a small litany of wait a minute, I got this from here, this from there, this from here, and I'm getting my versions. I mentioned, the Phoenix thing of Friday, which is another input, plus what you women were talking about this morning on your, and I'm not even through that thing, but half, but I can see that that's connected. And it's becoming, no, I don't, in my own vision, I don't see it fully yet, but there's something inside me telling me, and I'll share this with you.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding is right. And the picture is coming into focus, sufficient to the needs of the moment. And that I have to trust is accurate. Sufficient to the needs of the moment. And that's, I guess you could say it's a leap of faith, but
what it is that we're being shown these parallels are happening in the synchronicity of watching Fringe at the same time. There's no accident here. We're being made aware of this for a reason. We just don't know what that is yet. Okay?
Exactly.
But we're all experiencing it. And as a group, we're holding energy and space for each other. And this is going to take us somewhere. But remember, we're going to know when we need to know when we need to know it. That is the way it is right now.
And when you get those pieces, like I say, it's the synchronicities when you all of a sudden have a bunch of pieces fall in front of your eyes, which is exactly what happened in 2016. The why Lisa and I did the video that we did was because we sat there for 18 hours going, holy shit, this, and then this, and then someone said us this, and then someone said us this, and then we got into this conversation, and someone said this. It was the same thing this weekend, where all of a sudden you have a whole pile of pieces just all come filtering at you all at once. And if you can see pay attention to those synchronicities. Pay attention. You said it, Dawn, the other day, when we have those mindful moments where you can see those differences, when you take note of your surroundings and you take note of the differences and you take note of the little pieces, and some of them are minute, they're so minor, but if you can take note of them, it's in the messages you get sent. It's in the stupid things that come up, like your YouTube recommended videos. These things come up, and if we pay attention to them, I don't know, sometimes I think the universe does speak to us. And I've had, well, without going into details, I had my own personal thing this week, and it was so funny because I was talking about it, I think, last show, about that, setting that intent of like going to bed at night and being like, my new reality is going to be, everything's got to move forward. We're going to move forward. We're going to, get shit done. No more bullshit. None of this. And I've had some little, let's just say, little nudges from the universe to make me go within 48 hours again on Thursday, Friday, of like, holy shit, that was pretty much the universe just giving me a nudge, I think, because wow, I asked for it and there it is. And then Friday night, and then into Saturday and into the Sunday. So I don't know, it's just like listening to those continuous little messages that are sent to us. Yeah, Maury.
Yeah. I hope the rest of you recognize what I just saw out of Danny, something major, massive. I mean, I've known Danny for a few years now, more than a couple, that's for sure.
I know, it's huge.
I'm telling you, Danny, I've been watching it happen. I've been telling Dawn about it as it's happening over the last several months. Lady, you're opening up to an area that you would, I swear to God, you would have stood there 2 years ago.
The woo-woo.
Yeah, no shit. You would have stood there 2 years ago and not entertained it.
Exactly. We need to, and I use myself as a prime example. Like, yeah. if I can watch a flat earth video and take something from it, okay, it's about opening ourselves up to the possibilities, because every time we close off an opinion, every time we close off, you're closing a door. You're closing a door. And this is the one thing that, like, for the last 6 months, especially for me, it's just been continuously like, we need to open these doors back up and stop. And that's what I keep talking about, unity. Like, we got to stop dividing each other and dividing ourselves into groups and labels of, New Agers and flat earthers and all of these things, and find the pieces together. And it starts with each of us. You got to get rid of your biases, and you got to get rid of your belief structures, and you've got to get rid of anything that anything that I have held on to as a piece that I'm not willing to let go, or pieces that I have not and I've literally continuously pushed away. These all have to keep coming in. These all have to keep being looked at. And when you do, this is the kind of shit that happens. Like I said, like just synchronicity. Fucking shit opens for you and you go, holy shit.
Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. So maybe that's a good sign that we're about to be ejected from the system. That's
the way I interpret it, Dawn. But
and we just don't fit in anymore. We're not resonating.
We're not from around here.
No, we can feel it already. We can feel it. Well, all the reasons that we know, we can sit there and enumerate them down the point by point by point. But internally, we know, no, we belong somewhere. That somewhere isn't the way things are now, and that somewhere is becoming more and more. We're stepping further back from the pointless painting, and we're not far enough back to see the whole picture. But by God, we're getting little glimpses that there's more than just dots there.
Exactly. Even if we're only seeing the chin of somebody's picture or the nose, at least we're starting to see outline. We're starting to see details now and seeing how they fit together.
There's pliability. That's the whole point. Nothing's like, rigid.
Nothing is rigid.
Every time a wave comes in, we're experiencing some weird shit. Those of us that are awake, we're learning how to ride the ride.
Oh, please don't say waves. We've had far too many waves in my neighborhood for the last.
We're starting to I know I'm experiencing things now. Like something's happening. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess knowing that there's other realities playing out makes it a lot easier for me. And I think that us watching Fringe as a group is really drilling that home. Okay. So it's important that we recognize how important it is to keep it together in these moments, because we may start to see it even get worse.
I think we are. I don't see it. I don't see it getting better anytime in the next couple of days. Let's just say it that way.
So that may be part of it,
No, this is it. And so, you find your moments. Just find those moments and hold on to them.
Yeah.
Mia, the whole thing about flat Earth, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch last week's show because I got heavily into this whole thing. I personally, obviously it's theoretical, it's hypothetical, there's no fucking proof of any of this, believe that the flat Earth stuff is a Mandela effect. And I believe the mud flood stuff and the Tartaria stuff is a Mandela effect. I.e., as I've said, in my reality that I'm from, I know there's a curvature to the planet because I've fucking seen it. So my own blood bare two eyes, I have seen it. Then we had this 2015 fucking shit, and then there was all this flat Earth stuff came out. And there was some very, very good information that came out with the flat Earth stuff. This was one of the big points I kept having all the time when everyone was blowing up in 2016 and 17. It was like this massive division. I was like, can you not just take on the information that the flat Earth stuff, the questions that were being asked? There's some really, really fucking good questions, and it opens up your mind to start asking some of these questions. It doesn't matter what the actual shape of the planet is. That matters diddly fucking squat. In the end of the day, it doesn't change your daily life in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're on a round planet, a fucking pyramid-shaped planet, a square planet, it really doesn't fucking matter. Same thing with the mud flood. Now we're watching all the mud flood and the Tartaria stuff. And it's huge, and everyone's going on about this. Yeah. Nancy, exactly. Somebody put a comment on the YouTube saying, calling it the temporal effect. Don't call it the Mandela effect, because it is setting a precedent. And like I said, I've always said I hate using that word. But what if the mud flood Tartaria shit is actually from this world is a fact? The Tartaria stuff, the mud flood stuff may actually be a fact from this dimension, plane, existence, reality, timeline, loop, whatever we want to call it. which is why there is so much evidence that's coming out. Things like the Children's Crusade, not from my reality. Not from my fucking reality. Didn't happen. But that doesn't mean that here, in wherever this reality is now, that it didn't happen. And we have to start looking at some of this stuff and realizing that a lot of the things that sometimes we fight about and argue over is simply a temporal thing. It's a temporal marker. In this marker, it's the Tartarian mud flood on this reality. And you know what? Like, here it is. So here's another piece. But again, there's been really great questions asked by the Tartarian, the stuff about the mud floods, etc. And if we get caught up in the storyline and the narrative, then we lose track of all what these questions are asking and what they bring as pieces to the table to actually look at. And that's my point in this, is like the fact of, like, if I can sit down, who's so totally not a flat earther, but I can still watch a video and pull the pieces out that come up, because you get some people who do some videos and you go, oh, that's a really fucking good point. Wait a second, how does that really kind of rings a bell for me? How does that fit? Where does that piece fit into all this other stuff that we're discussing? Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, strange fucking shit. All I know is that everything is fucking shifting under our feet like quicksand. It's just, as soon as you think you've got a handle on whatever reality you're in, it fucking shifts again, and you're like, wait, where am I now? What new thing am I gonna get thrown at me today? Because I don't know.
I just walked outside because I had to put the puppies in their cages. And that fucking bird's out there, and it called out like 3 times, and I started laughing. So I turned around, walked in. I have music playing on my TV in there, because I'll play like 70s music. And you know what song was on?
What?
Free Bird.
Free Bird. I called it.
You can't make this up, man. I'm telling you. I mean, it's like you just smile because it's like the universe plays with you.
Not gonna say you're wrong. Like I said, I don't know.
There might be a point in that comment she made semi-lightheartedly. Maybe it's telling us that we should start playing back a little bit and not take this shit so seriously. Notice it, but not take it quite as seriously as they want us to.
I think they just let us know that we're birds and we're free. You know, we're free. They're just letting us know that it's happening.
Yeah, what is it that's happening? Yeah, that's the part I'm a little hazy.
Yeah, we're being freed from our own, you know, I always say that we're the logos trapped in form. You know, we are. So we're gonna be freed.
I know nothing, Jon Snow. I know nothing. I guess I know that I have to go to bed. That's what I do.
And we don't know either. We're just kind of guessing and sharing our insights, feelings, and as best we know how. And there's a certain unity in that too, even though it's not being said by any of us specifically. This is it for everybody to listen, take notes, and all that shit. All we're saying is, let go some more. Let go some more. What you thought isn't all the story, and part of that. And we're seeing this weird stuff, quote, kind of knocking on our windows, saying, "Hey, look over here. There's more to this game than you thought before. No matter how smart you thought you were." And I thought I was pretty smart too, D. But I don't know shit. I really don't.
I don't know jack shit anymore. Seriously, I'm surprised I even know what my fucking name is these days. That's why I just use the initial D. I don't have to remember too much. It's only one of 26 letters. Okay, Jones, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to make Star the host. See, I'm going to say, as soon as I say, I'm going to go, Star always opens his mouth and always starts talking to me every single show. You are so funny.
I was trying to beat the clock on it. I knew you were going into something. That's why I was, I was going to say, lest we, God damn, now I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Lest we forget our name, lest we forget our birth name.
Yeah, don't even, yeah. That's why I like using the name D, because it's not my birth name. It just is what it is. That's all. Hey, Jules! You got here just as I'm about to run out. You're awake. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I've been listening and working at the same time, so.
Oh, are you working, are you?
Kind of.
Pretending to work, perhaps?
Running code, so I'm just letting it compile and, yeah.
Oh, you're fucking...
Kind of bludging.
Oh, well. Okay, my darlings, I'm going to let you go.
Have a good night.
Mwah. Stars.
I'm looking forward to season 2. I'm looking forward to season 2.
So am I. I'm like, because season 2, it gets so fucking good in Fringe in season 2. And it just escalates from there. Okay. Good night, my darlings.
Love yous.
Wait, I'm trying to leave. There we go.
One small step for man.